just about every single NBA fan knows, the NBA playoffs are starting today, and as every Hawks fan knows, they made the playoffs at the 7th seed and we go against the Boston Celtics, so you can probably already guess what this video is. This is me predicting how I think the series is going to go. Now, of course, before I get into this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Guys, help me out a little bit. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, of course, the basics, the Hawks finished the season 41-41, and the Celtics finished the season with an amazing 57-25 record. The Boston Celtics were 3-0 against the Atlanta Hawks, and of course, the Hawks, they beat the Miami Heat in a play-in game in which they dominated 116-105, with Trae Young leading the way with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Now, going into the Atlanta Hawks season so far, they pretty much had the most mid-season ever. They literally finished with a 500 record. All the trade rumors surrounded Trae Young the whole season. If you've been on Instagram, you've seen posts describing just how middle of the pack, mid the Atlanta Hawks have been this season. Now, they've quietly had a top 3 offense in the league with elite shooting, and they've looked unstoppable at times. Now, the problem is that they complement that amazing offense with one of the bottom 5 worst defenses in the entire league. Now, I'm going to say this. I think this series is going to have huge implications on what goes on in the future for the Atlanta Hawks. Whether Trae Young gets traded, whether DeJounte Murray stays here for the long term, or he goes to another team, I think it is going to have a huge implication, and it's going to tell us a lot of information on what is for the Hawks in the future going forward. Now let's get down to Boston. The Boston Celtics had a fantastic season, finishing second in the Eastern Conference, and were first pretty much the entire year until the Milwaukee Bucks went berserk towards the end of the season and won one more game, and then when it was all said and done. Now, they're led by 2 All-Stars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If you're from the Atlanta area, you know who Jaylen Brown is, and if you watch the NBA, you know who Jason Tatum is. Jason Tatum recently became the first Boston Celtic to average over 30 points per game in a regular season, beating Larry Bird, who averaged like 29.9 one season. And of course, Jaylen Brown had an amazing season on his own. The dude averaged 23, 7, and 3. Probably the quietest, nearly 37 and 3 I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, unlike the Hawks, the Boston Celtics have a fantastic defense. As a matter of fact, they're a top 5 defense in the league, while also being a top 5 offense in the league at the same time. Now, they also have the best differential in the NBA, with that being 6.5. So, as you can tell, the Boston Celtics are, in easier terms, literally one of the best teams in the NBA and one of the better teams in NBA history. Now, with all that being said, I think the Atlanta Hawks are a really great team. They made some really good signings towards the trade deadline. I think a new head coach is another thing you have to take note of. I mean, the last time the Hawks got a new head coach during this part of the season, they did make it deep into the playoffs. They were 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. Is that going to happen again? I don't think so. Now, of course, going to the Boston Celtics, once again, they had a lot of distractions earlier this season with the Ime Udoka situation, but they found a great replacement. They ended up having an amazing season off what was a championship run, or they didn't win the championship, but going to the championship run, at least that's what I meant to say. The Boston Celtics, bottom line, they had a great season. They have great players, they have pieces everywhere, a good bench. The Celtics put up a really good year. Now, going into my prediction, I think the Boston Celtics, and I have to be realistic here. I know that my Atlanta fans are going to want me to choose the Hawks, and I want to choose the Hawks. But I think the Boston Celtics are going to win this series in 5, maybe 6 games. Now, of course, as I said earlier, the last time the Atlanta Hawks came into the playoffs with a new head coach, we were 2 wins away from going to the NBA Finals. I'm just saying. However, that's not a common situation at all. That barely happens. Now, being realistic, I'd be really surprised if the Boston Celtics did not win this series. I think the Celtics are near 100% health. I could see Atlanta picking up a win or 2, maybe back in the A, maybe in State Farm Arena, but I don't think they're going to win in Boston, or at least I think they're going to have a hard time winning in Boston. And the Celtics also look prepared for a finals run. Their defense is elite. Their offense is once again elite, as it is every year. They look very good to go back into the finals and possibly win the NBA Finals. Who knows? Me personally, I think the Bucks are the best team in the Eastern Conference because they have the best player in the world in Giannis Antetokounmpo, in my opinion. But getting back to the main topic, I think the Celtics are well prepared for a finals run. And I also see the series having huge implications for Boston. If Boston somehow, and I mean by the grace of Jesus himself, coming down to Atlanta and saying Atlanta shall win, if a big if. If the Celtics lose the series, I think you're going to see some huge changes for this team. I don't think the Celtics are going to lose this series, but I think this series is going to tell us a lot about both teams' futures. But of course, that's going to end this video, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try and release a couple of videos. I have a sci-fi video coming out on different ways the world could end. So for my sci-fi crowd, the people who love the science and the fiction and the meteors and the volcanoes and all the other crazy stuff that I talk about on this channel, I'm going to get that video to you as soon as possible. But the NBA playoffs, if you guys want me to predict everything and who's going to go to the finals, I'll release a video on that. Just put that in the comments. Message me on Instagram. You guys have all that stuff. Links in the description. But of course, I wish you nothing but the best. As usual, stay loved, stay blessed. I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.